Another day with the meat birds. I'm here cleaning out the coop, observing them, paying attention to how they're moving around if they're in distress because they are very heavy birds. They were bred to produce meat. So naturally they will be consuming a large amount of feed on a daily basis. And these birds, I allow them to feed as needed and their food is always available for them. I also provide them with clean water so that they would have that available because if they don't have water, they would not eat as much feed as they should and therefore would not yield the amount of meat expected per bird. Currently, these birds are at 5 weeks old and they are already at market weight. Now, I normally raise them until they're 6 weeks old. However, if I notice that any of the birds here are having a hard time walking and moving around, I then go ahead and harvest them because at that point I would see them as suffering because they're trying to move around and visibly struggling. So the humane thing to do for them, for me, is to go ahead and harvest them. Look at the size of this one already, guys. Look at that. It's already at market weight and it's 5 weeks old. So this has yielded a lot of meat so far already. Let me just calm her down a little bit. I think that one's a rooster. But if you notice under there where the feathers are missing, that's the breast meat right there. And that touches the flooring of the coop. So imagine that heavy weight just sitting there on that spot. So that's the reason why it's pretty much bald there at that point of contact. Now, as I've showed in some of my previous videos with these meat birds, they have a lot of space in here that they move around, so they don't necessarily sit at the feeder and eat all day. They run around and they move around in here as much as they can because obviously they are heavier birds and they wouldn't move around as much as you would have layer birds flying and moving and running around. But these meat birds, once you give them enough space to move around, they would do so. Now, as they get heavier and heavier from consuming a lot of feed, they will move around less. And by that time, it will probably be time to harvest them. Now, if you're raising meat birds or if you have raised meat birds before, you would notice that some of the birds grow faster than others. And so what I normally do is I would harvest the heavier birds first and then I'll keep the smaller ones a little bit longer so they can put on some more pounds on their body, which would go up to about 6 weeks or even 7 weeks at times. So now it's nice and clean in here. I'm going to put this back together, replace the feed and water, and they'll be good for the day. Alright, so this is a close-up. Now you can see better. They're very active in here. They move around because they have so much space to do so. And they're not just sitting at the feeder consuming food all day. As you can see, they like sitting at the window when the sunlight comes in. They even dust bathe in the pine shavings, and this is why I like to put a light layer of pine shavings down and clean it out every day. Now, someone had commented on one of my videos about the amount of pine shavings that I was putting down and that the flooring of the coop would not last as long, which is true. That was a valid comment. But at the same time, I come in here and I clean out this chicken coop every day. So for me, I feel like the amount of pine shavings that I'm putting down to cover the entire flooring of the chicken coop is sufficient for these birds. And I'm not piling it up as thick, but it's also adequate. I feel like it's an adequate amount of pine shavings that I put down on the flooring here. I mean, if you're not going to go in and clean every day, then I suggest that you do put a nice thick layer of the pine shavings down. Now for my layers, I do put at least 4 inches of either hay or leaves for my chickens. I put it really thick because I don't clean it out every day. I may turn it, but I don't clean and remove it every day. So for my layers, I would put a very much thicker layer of bedding down. Now the time is coming closer and closer to harvest day, and we got our work cut out for us, but at the end of it all, it will be well worth it. I hope you found interest in this video. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, Please leave it in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time right here on Fifi's Urban Homestead and Lifestyle.